Do you believe in past life regressions? Do you ever wonder, are they real? Is it delusional? Am I, the sum total of all past lives? Or am I someone famous? Or have I been through horrific things? This is what we're going to talk about in today's episode. What are past life regressions? Why are they imperative for you to clear the subconscious mind, birth your soul's purpose, and become empowered? Welcome to the Dr. Erin Show. May you live your truth. Hi there and welcome. I'm Dr. Erin, Dr. Divinity, and I'm also a master spiritual coach. And today's topic is past life regressions. This is one of my favorite topics. It is something that blew my mind when I began to do it years ago. And so I want to dive into, what are past life regressions? Why are they important that we do it? Why do we even need to know that information? And is it real? Is it not real? Okay. So, one, we have to understand that we live in a mental universe. And in fact, this week's universal law is universal law of mentalism. The truth is, we live in a construct that basically is like a matrix, right? It's all mental pictures that are created, and these mental pictures go into our Akashic records. Okay. So whenever I'm working with a client, it's imperative that we do some of their past life regressions if they want to become fully empowered, if they want to recognize they are a creator. Okay. So I'm going to start with my own personal story around it. So, years ago, when I began to do my deep inner work, this is a long time ago, 30 years ago. And as I began to go down this rabbit hole, I began to recognize that there's definitely past life, memory. And you could say it in the epigenetics or whatever, but we know, even scientifically, the memory of our past lives or our ancestors is the memory that is in the subconscious mind. So as I began to dive deeper into this, I was doing some regression work and began to realize that I could remember things that I had no idea. For example, I'd go into a session. I never studied history in school. I didn't like history as a little girl. And as I'd go into these memories, I would know exactly what people were wearing, exactly what was happening, and exactly the date. And I'd come out of the past life regression and I'd begin to research, on Google. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what's possible? How did I know that? How did I know that? Right. And so I began to do a lot of past life regressions and began to track a lot of lifetimes. And and you know, were they my past lives? Like there was things in my memory that were like I was one time in a Jewish camp and I'm not Jewish. I'm only 2% Jewish. So I was like, well, is this real or not real? Because am I just picking up on stuff? And so as I began to go down further and further, I began to realize that we're not just the past lives of our particular DNA. We're the past lifetime. We're connected. We know this through an entanglement theory, and not even a theory. They've proven that we are connected as one. So what happens is we begin to basically have trauma collectively. And these traumas are memories that are within all of us. So, why this is important is because when I have a client that comes in and they're getting trained in coaching and they're helping their clients, heal thyself and reprogram the subconscious mind, the mental pictures of past lifetimes have charge on them. And they actually, as they have more charge, they tag our DNA and literally strangulate our DNA. So, what we're doing in past life regressions, particularly through E4 method, is we are taking the charge off the mental pictures. We're no longer the effect of those, and literally we're freeing our DNA to become more empowered. And what happens with clients is oftentimes whatever they've been through in past lifetimes or whatever they're identifying energetically through in the traumas of generations back is what they're here to do. It's literally like a divine assignment for them to help others that have gone through similar traumas. So again, a few other stories of everything I've gone through. So one story was a few years back, I was in London. I'm actually a majority of English in me. I'm German, a bunch of things. I actually have native Indian in me, a bunch of things. But when I was in London, I was only there for a few days. I had never been to London and it was raining and I wanted to go tour London. I didn't have a lot of time. So I thought, well, I'm going to splurge. I'm going to hire a driver and I'm going to actually tour London. So here I was going around London and it was like this side, that side is beautiful buildings. I could feel the energy for sure of, dark things and good things and da da da. And we came upon what is called the Tower of London. And we're driving by, and I just had this knowing. And I was like, I know that I died there. And so I asked my driver, I was like, would you mind, pulling over? I'm going to go inside this one place. He said, sure, absolutely. So he pulled up to the side. I went up to the ticket agency and I said, where were the witches burned and hung at the stake here? And she said, I'm sorry, as a woman, she said, no, that's not this place. That's this other place at the other side of town or whatever. And I was like, okay, and I knew that I had been burned at the stake here. So I go inside and I start looking all around and I'm not seeing anything of any woman. There's a bunch of stories of men being tortured and being, in prison there for different hearsay stuff and spiritual stuff. And there was this one teacher and he was literally teaching a bunch of kids of the history of all of it. And I was like listening to him and stuff. And then he said, okay, let's take a break and we'll come back, whatever. And so I went up to the guy and I said, excuse me, is there any woman that was burned at the stake here? And he said, there was one woman here. And he said, her name was Anne Haskell. My name's Erin Haskell. And I was like, what? So I started investigating further and then I found out the whole story. So I wanted to read that too. So Anne Askew was born in 1521 in South Kelsey. She was in English and she basically her father was a gentleman of the court of King Henry, and she began to be very spiritual. And, at that point in time, it was hearsay, and you would be condemned. She was literally tortured and burned at the stake at the Tower of London. So the point is that we have an inner knowing, and we have all this trauma that's happened, whether it was directly in our DNA or collectively, because those actual traumas, we are one with our one soul. There's only one soul and there's only one family. There's one divine and it's in fractals, but we're affected by everything. We know this from quantum, physics. We know that when one thing is impacted in the universe, the other thing that's touched it is impacted and everything came from, you could say the Big Bang. It's not exactly correct spiritually, but everything is connected. So here I was, it shook me up, but it also was so confirming because we all have gifts, right? And my gift is being able to track a lot of past lives. And when I'm doing this with clients, actually, I don't track their past lives. I don't say, hey, this happened to you. It's not what we do. What we do in E4 is it's almost like it's through regression work and it's also like almost through the imagination. As Einstein said, our greatest faculty is imagination. But when we go in the wormhole of imagination, we begin to open up into memory. And in that memory, there's a lot of emotions. And what I find and what I hear a lot from clients is that past life regression, I had more emotions and it made sense of what's going on in this lifetime more than any regression or any trauma or anything that's happened to me in this lifetime. So the point is, past life regressions are imperative. They're imperative, number one, to clear the subconscious mind. We have patterns sometimes, and we don't even know why we're having these stuck patterns in this lifetime. And it all comes from past life memory, particularly traumas. Another thing of why past life regressions are imperative is because your soul's purpose is born out of the hardest things you've been through. And you may have a soul's assignment that may be something that is really traumatic that's happened in this lifetime or in past lifetimes. And it may not even be necessarily what happened to you, but happened to the collective. But there's memories. The third reason to do it is just for empowerment. When I'm working with a client and helping them have full revelation and really having enlightenment, the point is that you are a creator. And when you recognize whatever's happened to you in the past and the decisions that were made out of those traumatic incidents, it restores the empowerment. It restores you to understand that you are a creator. You are the I am. You are one with divine. You are one with God's source within. And that's why doing past life regressions are so imperative. Okay. So secondly, in the Q&A today, I want to go over some of the questions that people have about past life regressions. And some of the main things are this. Are past life regressions real? Again, it doesn't really matter. And this is kind of that weird thing. It matters the mental pictures that come up and what's the meaning around it. What's the emotions around it so that we can neutralize those charge? Okay, again, are they real or not? It doesn't matter. Everything's mental pictures. What matters is the identity and the empowerment to come out of it. Okay. But are they real? Well, yes, so many different studies and things on past life regressions. There's a famous book called Many Lives, Many Masters that is well known, documented, of a therapist that began to realize that all of his patients began to have memories of past life things. And it was like profound of how specific it was and how real the dates and everything are. So, it's all in the eye of the beholder. You could probably find proof of why it's not real, and you could find proof of how it is real. What matters is what impact it has on the client. Okay. What happens during a session? Will I be hypnotized? So there are people that do hypnotize things for past life regressions. We do not do that. We believe that empowering the client. So in E4, the coach, the practitioner, does not do the past life regression. The coach and practitioner is asking and guiding the client to take themselves through the regression, to take themselves through reverie, to take themselves into that memory, holding neutrality and guiding the client to not get more upset or energize it or put meaning around it. It's very specific in E4. And what comes through it when you go to a past life regression and say it's a trauma in a past life, you go there, you neutralize it, and you as is the mental picture. And what comes out of that is a truth, whether it be the soul's purpose, whether it be a truth of restoring consciousness, restoring the empowerment, whatever that is. Okay. So, what if I can't access anything? They say this happens very rarely. Generally, we don't just say, let's go into a past life. In general, the consciousness will cue when we've gone into something deep in this lifetime, and it will begin to cue to go into a past life regression. So, in general, the consciousness is ready to go there when it's indicated. Very rarely, nothing will come up. And a lot of it's like people attaching to wanting it to happen. So we make sure when we're working with a client that we actually make sure they have non-attachment, that they play in consciousness a little bit to open up that wormhole and that vortex. And in general, 9 out of 10 times, it is a profound session. Okay. And then, can past life regressions help heal trauma? Absolutely. E4 method is specifically goes into traumatic incidences, and it neutralizes the trauma, and it burrs what's called the negative command, the negative identity, the false identity. So it neutralizes that. And then the client is really able to get more of their true identity and their soul's purpose as well. And then, will I experience anything disturbing? Um, you know, I would say no, but I would say yes. So is it disturbing? I mean, most of the time when we're doing past life regressions, we're going into a trauma. So it would be disturbing, but the practitioners are holding neutral space and educating the client before they go in there to know that, of course, that this is really to look at what decision was made out of the disturbing thing so that you can neutralize it so you become more empowered. So again, we wouldn't go into a past life regression if someone wasn't ready for that. Their consciousness is going to indicate that they're ready to go further, deeper, and they're ready to look and confront anything that happened in any lifetime and in their subconscious. And then, what else? What does it feel like? It feels real. Like, oh my gosh, when I used to do a lot of past life regressions on myself and go in there, I mean, it's more real than what's happening right here. And you realize that it's all mental. Everything's mental. Like, you can feel the saddest, or the most breakthrough, or in war, or whatever happened, you feel as if it's happening right now. But in not putting meaning around it, it doesn't keep the energy and the emotions and the disturbance. We train our clients in getting neutral around all of it. And then, can I do it more than once? Absolutely. So here's a little hack, and whether you believe this or not, that's okay. The in phenomenon of past life regressions, if you did a lot of them, is recognizing that you're all past lives. You're all past lives. Whether you believe that or not, the truth is that we are one. There's one soul. Again, there's one life, there's one soul, and it's divine. So the past life regression is recognizing that you're all of it. And what happens is you end up getting a bigger and bigger soul's purpose out of that, because you recognize we're here to birth truth for the world. And we really want to be able to take on all traumas of all lifetime, the good and the bad. We get to rise and stand on the shoulders of the greats if we're willing to not just take what's good, but also look and take responsibility for everything that's happened on this planet. Okay. And then so the law of the week is universal law of mentalism. If you haven't already, you can go below here and you can click and get the free universal law calendar. Every week there's a distinction. There's only one universal law. It's the law of cause and effect. Okay. And the law of cause and effect it has many, many distinctions. So one of the distinctions in this week is a law of mentalism. So the truth is that get clarity on your core values and commit to what matters, because all mental pictures, you can energize good visioning mental pictures and be able to take a quantum leap and time compress for that as well. So you can get that there. So also you can get on my newsletter, and on my newsletter, I'm doing all the astrology for each week on there as well, along with the universal law lesson on there. And you can grab all that. Sometimes I'll do some astrology here, but I want these to be ongoing, that you can binge them and someone will watch it down the line, not just energy updates. So you want to grab the newsletter and get the energy update with all the astrology, all how it relates to universal law, some questions and answers there as well. And I'm just sending you guys all so much love. Let's take a deep breath in. Doing a spiritual mind treatment, getting the right and left hemisphere of the brain connected, getting the heart and head connected, taking a deep breath in. And I recognize the same power that lives and breathes in me is in everyone, everywhere. I recognize this one divine power that creates all mental images, creates all matter, all time, all space. I recognize this is the I am. And I recognize no matter what has happened in my track and all past lives, in my DNA, that I'm here with a soul's assignment. And it is to free thyself, to know thyself, and free my DNA to be the most expressed, the most divine, unique divine me. I'm here to take responsibility and therefore receive all of the abundance of life. I know this in the name of truth, as together we say, and so it is. And so it is. Okay, you guys, if you're not already in Soul Society, the community, come on in. Let's get our mind right, master our subconscious, birth our soul's purpose, and really truly live a supported life with people that are in truth. You can grab the universal law calendar. It's free below. You can jump in and get the newsletter and get links to this episode each week. It's generally 11 to 22 minutes. And if you want to subscribe and share it out, it would be so great. Across all podcasts, we have over almost 1 million downloads on this. YouTube, somewhat new. So share, like, all that stuff. I'm sending you guys so much love, and may you live the truth.